What are they going to be doing with the Sage? How are they going to be utilizing that? Really looking to see, looking forward to it. I'm really excited, right? Because we saw PRX use Sage on this map and what effect it was. So hopefully some of those ideas, might be carried over. Maybe Maryville also saw that match, reads into it a bit.
Oh, well, there's just a death match in the middle of the map. And Cubert has started on offense on all 3 of our maps. But have only converted one of those pistols. So we'll see. And then, if they convert the pistol, they went up 11-1. So I have a sample size of 1. If Cubert win pistol, they win the map. I don't know, but we'll see.
Valorant
They walk into
science.
Giza's, yeah, they walk into Giza's sightline though. The desk highlighted his impact at just converting a lot of these multi-kills and has single-handedly ruined Cubert's chances on this pistol.
I mean, yeah, now it's a 3v1. It's all up to Satellite with absolutely no utility, and it's going to be raw gunfights, right? If you can catch the timings, it'll work.
Okay, caught Chloric literally lacking. So Satellite gets lucky there. Now has spotted someone in the market side, so we'll try to wrap around, and only 30 seconds to do left. So this doesn't want to walk into that sight line, but I'm gonna have to start booking it soon.
I mean, there is enough time to make it into mid, clear it out, run towards the A site, get the plant. The big concern is, though, that you still have a paranoia as well as a stun on Renz in terms of utility for this re-clear on the A site.
There's plenty of time for Satellite to hide too, so he's gonna try and even be proactive with this. He can play off his Viper wall too. He's got half fuel. Did just hear the mid push, paranoia at the box. Satellite, he has the element of mystery. Time on his side too. Redux gonna slide and get the one tap. Nasty. Or Renz will get that, and we were looking forward to seeing maybe the Neon matchup from Lotus, but no, Renz is going to be unmatched right now in the Neon. Great play.
So nasty, it became confusing. Honestly,
right?
No, pretty solid. Pretty solid in terms of that flick and the kill. We get a replay of that POV. I would love to see a replay of that POV. But like the desk mentioned, right? They just walked straight into Giza. There was a lot of time for Satellite. A good chunk of opportunity, just unfortunately at that point, it is a matter of a hero play and individual skill, which sometimes, when pen needs paper, it doesn't really last. And now, heading into another eco, just a sheriff for Satellite, the one that managed to get the most kills, and they're going to try to do a bit of damage, but realistically, this is, multiple rifles and an Ange judge this time.
Interesting Viper wall too. That's just to get the orb. I wonder if Satellite's going to want to reposition that more to cut the site in half, or how much they're going to really use that to sell a fake over at B. They got Maryville's attention after that orb grab, but Nisbo's been the one that's lurking, and now that one way is gone, and just going to reestablish that. He could also just play safe, literally in corner camp with the judge. We saw how good that was for Wildfire on Ascent, so he just wants to play for info. And the judge is going to hurt here once Cubert walk into this, but further away than they expected. Cubert have to respect this judge.
They're going to have to get out of here as well, and with 40 seconds, it's a bit of a scramble as to whether they're going to take... I mean, they have to go into mid at this point, right? They've committed a good chunk of players. They back out, it would be a little rough considering that they've bolstered up the A defense.
Yeah, that was the issue on Ascent for Cubert. It's just working the map too much, but just not getting anything out of it. No, not a lot of first bloods in their favor. I was getting a snack when they showed those stats, so that's my bad. But they are just going to clear through mid. Not only that, come from behind and try and challenge Giza, but that is his perch, and Cubert are left with nothing.
I will say, though, Valid, I got myself a granola bar as well, but...
Oh, that's healthier.
True. No, you got to keep that, fiber and sugar up. But at this point, hopefully, Sentinel's Cubert Academy can keep up, right? Previously, we saw sweeps, and hopefully that isn't going to be the same thing here. I'm praying for this not to be a constant for especially this first map. I love it when we see changes. And I'm going to have some copium here for the Cube. They have full weapons. They have Redux on the raise for entry. Knights is a GOAT player making this case, and hopefully can be locked and shut considering that is a bit of a weak point, but again, you're on the defense side. You can play these gnarly angles if you're Maryville.
And whoever is on that first pistol has gone up 11-1, but Ange really greedy on that play. I thought he had time to teleport out, and Renz just can't trade. You don't want to both feed into this, but kind of hesitated on that sideline, had ahead, and just kind of swung away. So weird hesitation out of Maryville, and Q are just going to full benefit from this, and that'll be a free plan.
And all is right in the world. The timeline has reset. Thanos is gone. We managed to get a round 3 that is not converted. We don't have a bonus conversion, not yet at least. We still have Giza and Wildfire with full kit of utility for Wildfire. It's a matter, though, of a hero play, right? You would need a hero to win this.
We need to call the Avengers, though, because I don't know if Giza and Wildfire have it in them. They've been really good defensively when Cuber push into them, but now the tables have turned and Wildfire and Giza have to push into them, and
last player standing.
Kind of got split up a little bit, and now Cuber gets to flawless them on the other side.
I mean, it's exactly what you'd want here. I kind of hammed it up a bit, but yeah, no. GOAT players. Nismo was the one that really shined there as well. Nismo also Nismo and Satellite both won off ult. And with the Sage changes that I find really fascinating is that Ultimate can recharge a bit faster. So you can have a little bit more pushes. Redux can get in there. Redux can be like, you know what, I'm going to take this fight and not worry about it as much if the res is available. And you keep doing that until inevitably Redux falls. Other than that, though, it's going to be the rifle here. Good buy up for Maryville. Utility set up for the Cypher on B. Hold on A.
Yeah, now we have a game on our hands. We're not going to have some insane 7-0 win streak. We get to see a more back and forth punch back affair. Now Cuber going to drone, Paranoia, Wildfire, going to try and keep them at bay and protect his fellow initiator. Maryville just hold their corner, and with the Sage wall up, Nismo is just going to help the team focus down one lane at a time, and Ange is just going to cut down 2. And even no response from Nismo, who could have maybe coughed back at that moment. 3 versus 3, though. Post-plan could ensue, but Kaio's not feeling very safe, and I don't blame him with an Angel lurking in the shadows. But it's trades back and forth. No clear advantage. It's Kaio and Satellite versus the world, and Ange is going to teleport on the other side of this Viper wall. I like this play, but 10 HP. You're going to need some insane plot armor to take this round away from Cubert. And Satellite's going to throw out the pit, so that's going to be even more impossible for Maryville. They'd have to hope that they could just spam through all the smoke and get some lucky damage into Satellite or Caillou, but now time is against them. Ren's equally low. They'd have to get the ultimate backstab on Caillou and Satellite to try and win a 1v1 against players like this. And Ange heads for the ace against Satellite, is denied, and Renz gets the last laugh.
That is flabbergasting, because there's so much going right for Cubert, and all it took was Ange just fighting that one little in, and then it all fell apart. Because you had the 2v1, Viper takes down 1, it's all good. You're all at 1 HP anyway because of the decay. You have to immediately just get that trade, and boom, a defuse comes through. The ultimate picked up as well for Renz, and at this point, it's looking very doable for both sides. Back and forth already happened on round 3. We have a buy up here for Sentinels Cubert Academy, who notably, did buy up previously as well. That res is online for Nismo, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit over aggression from a Redux, who is currently, I believe if I saw correctly, 0-3.
Yeah, both initiators from Maryville are struggling. It's a weird look, but hey, when your duelist is popping off, that's all you need. Renz go frag, and imagine if we saw this version of Renz on Lotus, I think we'd be casting till we died of old age. That would have been a much longer game.
I like long games though, Lemon, because it's fun, right? There's a bit more of a dynamic story to be told between the two teams. That's really what I'm hoping for here right now, is for Cubert to whip something out, make something really unique, maybe get a nice strategy going. Redux is here alongside Caillou. Want to pop out on the B site.
He's about to be tested. He's got his one-way setup. He will be affected by the slow orb and is going to decide to just concede the site. Not try to get his one and done, maybe neural theft. That would have been a high-risk play, but Renz is around the corner. So Maryville are going to double up on this. Take positions in market, and there's a double flank happening. Maryville have Wildfire and Ange activating, and they just get backstabbed. Satellite takes care of business, and Maryville are left with not as many options to retake, especially when Giza has to push past the Sage wall that Nismo set up purposefully to leave a gap so that he would walk through it. Hubert are just thinking ahead of the game, and they'll be able to take their second round.
We saw a similar look last time towards the B site where Nismo walls off market to deny the control. It's actually really similar to how SRG was playing with Deadlock, utilizing the trips on some of the choke points to ensure that they are kind of contained within a specific path. It's really good to lock that pathing down on your opponent's retake. And it's a way better look for Qbert. They've had a bit more success towards the B site as well. So good call for them to rotate onto there and ensure that, hey, you know, if A isn't working, if Redux isn't doing well, we can res onto Knights. Knights is also a really solid aimer, and we can 100% hit towards the B site. This timeout, though, preemptive from Maryville. They want to get ahead of this. They have 3 ultimates in their back pocket. The economy is starting to falter because it has been a back and forth game. And even in round number 4 previously, they only won that off of a really lucky timing. It was one person alive. It was just Renz, who managed to trade Ange in the Viper's pit, if you guys recall. And that's not really good for your money. It's not really good for your economy. So these ultimates will really be kind of the key factor in if Maryville can win.
And Qbert have gone back and forth between Nismo being the one who lurks or Satellite. And amazing timing from Satellite to single-handedly shut down this double flank, which I think with them being set up with either Paranoia, Fault Line, whatever, would have absolutely crunched Maryville on all sides, or would have crunched Qbert from all sides. So Satellite really saved the team there. He's 7-3. He's been impactful, but Qbert are still behind by a round.
I'm sorry. I'm like trying to think of how they're going to run this because Renz has the Phantom, so they're not, I don't think they're gonna be going for the overdrive. They might drop it to give to someone else, but otherwise, I mean, they're just probably gonna use their ultimates when the time fits. Because at this point, if Qbert Academy is able to win like they did previously with a lot of weapons, that's when the snowball starts to pick up, and we might be seeing a little bit of dominance that we saw on Lotus return here on Sunset.
Qbert have been playing the slow default, so Maryville could try some fun inserts, and there was maybe a chance of that with Renz and Chloric. Maybe they were just grabbing orb and leaving, but could see that that could be a trap play for Maryville to work around. We've been wanting to see Wildfire really activate with like a fault line at A main, but that hasn't been the immediate hit for Qbert, so he's been pulled away.
Just about to say, speaking of traps, and I mean, they don't really fall into it, right? They're trying to, you know, trigger it, and then they back out here. The spike isn't there. They're still working the map here for Qbert, so I have a bit of faith in them.
All right, that's going to be off the call from Giza to activate the trap, and for Renz to go and clean up. He has the slide ready, trips ready, and Qbert would be up to Knights, and he's bringing in the spike. This is the ultimate stalemate.
30 seconds left.
How many of Qbert are going to be caught? Here's the camera being activated, and the fault line, the aftershock, and Giza's the one who cleans house. Even with the Vipers orb activated, Qbert just could not keep themselves safe, and now is a bit of a cutoff. Even with the classic from Chloric, 10 seconds left. Qbert are barely going to have time to re-clear towards B, even with this win. Just not going to have time, and should put a stop to this here in market. And Satellite Knight right to just keep this weapon, and it ends up being a thrifty for Maryville, the second one this series.
What? I mean, I saw the trap. It looked like there was players regrouping there. I guess Qbert decided that they could fight through it, but immediately just collapsed upon. And initially, like, first initial thought was, okay, well, they have players there, but the spike isn't there. They're probably going to try and work the map, see if there's something here. But no, they just didn't know. They weren't aware, it seems. And they fall straight into Maryville's plan. And now round number 7, things are topsy-turvy. Renz now does drop that gun, and I can see why they wanted to keep him on that Phantom. He's gonna pop the overdrive straight into mid. So much control for Maryville.
Just the spam through the smoke. That can't be a good feeling when you activate an ult and just have no targets to farm. Cuber will hold the line. They got Molly down. They got slow orb. So Cuber gonna put the wall up as usual, but Nismo just gets picked because Andrew's on top of the box and gets a fun angle. So Maryville are already adapting and overcoming Cubert. Now with the one-way, Knight's is going to check the back right corner, but not press too much. Hunter's Fury, though, is going to do all the talking from Chlor. Again, 2 responding Hunter's Furies, trying to cancel each other. But Caillou, well, at least get a target down for the road, and Q-Bird are just trying to brawl through what's left of the site without having a plant in their favor. Plenty of time, though, to scrap, as Wildfire won't get recon, has no util. No drone for Caillou as well, but with that smoke up, gives a chance for Wildfire to find another angle.
You can wrap around here and pinch together, but it's still rough on the timing.
Wildfire is going to get a surprise here. If Redux turns away, he's going to stay stoic, but Wildfire stays on his head, and Knights is going to do what he can. Can't 180 against the second player. Wildfire 1v1 against Caillou. Who's the better initiator? Despite still needing to be defused, and staying composed and cool as ever is Caillou for Cubert.
Again, right, it was a matter of just the timing and positioning. It was a bit rough. Good call to rotate out into elbow, right? So then you go for that pinch, you misdirect that aggression. But at the end of the day, time is a matter of it. You can't really reset. You can't really fall back and reload there if you are Wildfire. With only 2 bullets, you have to just send it. Not even to mention the fact that, yes, Maryville did get preemptive about the way that they're playing against that Sage Wall, and a timeout for Sentinels completely throws me off my tune. But back to the song I was singing, they are getting preemptive for Maryville, but at the end of the day, Hubert still managed to win within the scrappy, muddy fights, and that's all that matters, is you can come out a little bit ahead.
Okay, Maryville have already gotten a thrifty this map, so Cubert have to respect it. And now you have a showstopper, you got a teleport from Knights. There's a lot that you can do to either sell the fake and have Knights come over, or just have Redux run it down. But I think you just have to be aware of the A trap that has been set up around Giza and Wildfire, and how explosive that was, how impactful that was. And that leaves Cubert to have to take more advantage of mid, or how they're going to try and dislodge A.
I mean, A is interesting because what they try to do it the same way, kind of like they do it on B, where they put the wall up onto the choke for the entry, it seems. So it kind of forces you to go into a certain path. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think one thing that I really liked out of PRX for Toronto was the fact that they did go a little bit like aggro, controlled the space, and then used the wall in really creative and weird ways.
Oh, how about that for aggressive? Just the showstopper with the sun don't shine. Giza stood no chance no matter how fast he was trying to escape. Keeper know they have the advantage with the weapons, so... But I don't see them really extending out of the site as much, even with pistols on the other side, even with the numbers. They're going to keep Caillou inserted in main to watch the flank, and other than that, Cubert is just going to hold to their crossfire.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have much in terms of weaponry. It was pretty much an eco. Wildfire and Renz are the only ones that have big boy guns, but Sheriffs up close could be damaging. Again, this is that wall being used towards Market, the same one we've seen the past couple times they went towards B. It's just a matter of, can we find a change of pace, right? You could go on to that 10 spot, but digress.
My ult's ready.
Wildfire will go down with the ship, but to force 2 repurchases out of Cubert with how close this game has been, yeah, this is still anyone's match.
I'm laughing because I see Chloric just being like, oh, the bomb's going off. I have to go die for Alt Orb in economy, and just runs at them with a knife out. He's like debating whether to have his Sheriff out to get value or a knife out to go faster. Silly little moment. Just really aggressive back towards the B side on the eco to continue punishing the fact that they didn't have any weapons, and that makes total sense. The thing that is going to be interesting is how are they going to counter that B hold? Doesn't really matter right now. They're going towards A.
Yeah, and that's a judge from Chloric. That's gonna hurt. Fault line out, but as soon as they show face, Cubert are able to bite back against them. Rolling Thunder in the route that Cubert usually likes to take around that A link. They do get affected, but with the smoke down from Knights, there isn't gonna be pressure from Maryville quite yet, so they'll just have to stick around the site and down this A alleyway. A huge recon from Chloric is gonna get a heads up on Cubert. Not able to access that body that's around the corner, especially with Giza watching it. Cubert not going to have the util to pressure Maryville back.
It's like the spike is down. We have to protect the body so that they don't res.
Creeping up. Nismo also doesn't want to just bait whoever they're rezzing. That's like the worst stage thing you can do. And, well, better than nothing. Nice. Oh, impacted by the reload. Clean double, but nonetheless, Maryville have their trap set for A. It's solid.
Yeah, I mean, trap plays on A, and I think, again, the biggest thing has been the B retake. Yeah, the B retake has been kind of the big sore point for that side, but when they go towards A, it seems like a lot of really good stuff out of Wildfire, playing that supportive role along with the rest of that squad, just being able to capitalize on it. And again, we see Wildfire positioned towards the A site alongside Chloric, just getting ready to go for this fight. It's interesting, they have 3 of the, Omen doesn't count as an initiator, but they have 2 initiators in the flash off Omen, all towards the A site.
Cubert, when they've had that mid control, they've struggled to get into market just because the setup that Giza has had before has been really troublesome for Cubert. Now wrapping around the backside. It's an important fight for Cubert to win, and surely they just outnumber Renz. You're gonna have the teleport as Ange goes to support the B site. And there's a fight from Spawn. Wildfire and Chloric with the longest rotates ever. Cubert are now stuck into a crossfire. They're gonna buy time for the res. Nismo gets Redux back on his feet, while Giza puts Caillou 6 feet under. So this is a very messy round for Cubert to reestablish. But they feel like they pulled the rotates from A, so they're satisfied in thinking they have a weaker A site to plan at.
More than that, Satellite has that ultimate up, so if they can get this plant down, pop that ultimate, get set up in post plants, it'd be solid for them, but they still have to be wary of this A site. There are sharks lurking for Maryville. They're already here.
30 seconds
Redux in a good spot. Ooh, the pit too from Satellite. Surely, right? Maryville push into this with just the recon, and they'll have to do so without Ange. And Cubert just hold down within the pit. They're not going to extend, play the perimeter. They're going to let Maryville do all the searching, and Satellite is just going to poke his head out every now and then and see what's above water. And it's Chloric with no chance and really needing to save, and kind of realizing this a bit too late. It does get out just in time, though.
I think this Viper's Pit, I like it a lot. Not to glaze it too hard, but just I thought it was really cool and nerdy because you can play it towards elbow and the spike isn't fully covered, but it's covered enough that you can not only spam from the pit, but also it makes it really difficult for a defender to go and retake. So that type of stuff combined really made it hard for Maryville. Not to mention the fact that you had, just really good positioning by the Cubert Academy side. And now we're tied up 5-5, exactly what I like to see here on a map like this, especially on map number 3.
Ooh, now this is more of what I wanted to see. A close game. No 11-2 or 13-2s. No 13-5s. Some good old Valorant. And it's a whole stack of Cubert. No lurk, just vibes. Hoping to not run into a Wildfire fault line. Knowing that Maryville on a weaker buy, Cubert are going to lead with a lot more confidence.
Take flight. Honestly, Cubert have been going towards the B site pretty consistently during the weaker buys. So having the setup trap towards B is kind of why Maryville is there. But because of that, Cubert's like, okay, well, if they're going to be doing that, well, let's just go A. Like, we probably won't run into him. And if we do, we have better weapons.
Ooh. Redux goes flying, keeps safe, gets vision on the back site. So you know that Ange is there with a pistol, but Chloric is lurking about on the other side of the smoke. The recon he's hoping to get within the site. And here's Maryville converging. They're very strong on these lower buys, but Redux is proactive. Good nade. And he's got a lot of angles to check, but Cubert have to trust each other and trust into Knights to say goodnight to Maryville. And Renz and Wildfire are going to do as much damage as they can. A big double from Wildfire makes this definitely possible. The Maryville Thrifty. It could just happen again. How did Wildfire and Renz pull this together? The buddy system that shatters friendships on the side of Cubert. Now just needing to protect the spike. And oh my god, Maryville are built different. Give them worser guns because I swear they do better with it. Unfortunately, not the diffuse, but it's a win in our hearts, and that's all that matters.
True. I was about to say, the fact that Renz gets the frag and gets out of there is just like, all right, I didn't know you were just, you know, you goated like that. But at the end of the day, right, the objective wasn't cleared. And that's really what matters. It's twice in a row that they've managed to get that. And even though at round 12, it is a bit rough in terms of the buy, they still have enough to get full rifles and pretty solid kit of utility for Sentinels Cubert Academy. Threatening the 7-5, taking the lead. Maryville is ready, though. They're set up again for this A-trap.
Cubert get away with that win from the skin of their teeth and usual judge play, and Chloric kind of gets too antsy. Also, you know, the last pack got him into a bad position, but he didn't have to full commit, and Cubert are just good at baiting them. But Giza could be better at evening up the odds. A good neural theft is information critical for Renz with the triple elbow push. Renz is going to try and concuss, gets pinged, and notices Satellite is on his right, so Renz does not want to be caught by two players. And just gonna teleport in. What are we cooking? All right, let's just get this round over with. And Cubert get away with now 3 in a row.
I just want to say that I've liked the way Cubert have changed up their A play. They fight into the trap, into the judge. They've been expecting that to some degree, especially considering that they went back towards the A site. But also not even to mention the fact that Nismo was using that wall to, instead of fighting for link control, just taking elbow out of the equation. And, you know, sometimes when one area doesn't work, just throw it on the other one. It's as simple as that. And that, like, it's very basic. But it worked, and it worked for Cubert to get them over the line, get this 2-round lead. They pick up the pistol, it'll make them soar. On the flip side, Maryville pick up the pistol, should be 7-7. By the theory that is quote-unquote Valorant, should be. It's a matter of if they are going to be on this attack side, as they're starting with a look towards mid. There's 3 in mid for Sentinels also.
Maryville took both pistols last map. They started off our pistol this map. Nismo's gonna get an orb safely. And that's going to be some just initial conditioning that Maryville have to keep note of where this wall, where the sage is going to be from. Because being caught into a fight by a slow orb is going to ruin their day. But the wall is down, and Maryville didn't have everyone shoot the wall, so numbers are limited. We're just going to walk into the slow orb. Cubert would never expect this. They're smoked off. Nismo has a 1v1, and Ange doesn't fully peek and hesitates, while the rest of Maryville just use him as a sacrificial goat and just hit the other side.
I mean, hey, they're going to basically enter for free here. The question is, are these 3 players going to be enough? Redux has a sheriff, the rest of the deck, Caillou also has a sheriff. There's a couple of bits of utility as well. So it's a matter of just gunfights, honestly, and Wildfire Flash Aftershock combo.
3 versus 5 comeback for Maryville. Extending out through the top, clearing that out. And now it's a full flank from Cubert. Flash out. Ren's first contact brought down to his knees. Some initial damage there, 7 HP. But now Cubert have multiple players in position. Satellite starts to harass from the back. Gets the attention of Clork. Wildfire takes care of the front. And it's Nismo and Caillou in a healthy state with good sheriffs to defuse and get the pistol for Cubert.
Again, just overwhelmed with a bit of numbers. There's a couple of pieces of key utility like the flash, but at the end of the day, they didn't have a lot of utility to win out and really pressure Cubert. And more than that, when you just have a lot of bodies to throw out a problem, sometimes the solution is just that simple of just go in there, take the raw gunfights. You have really solid players. Hopefully, though, I mean, we could be seeing a thrifty. I've been saying, right, like, there are a lot of moments out of Maryville. I know you've commented on it, the Maryville thrifty, but they're not really buying up into it. They're not going for a G2 buy. So all should be kind of standard, but let's see how it plays out as they look to go towards A.
Slow orb into just these jump peaks, but I'd like to see Cuber just confidently swing into this, but hey, they swing when they're sure. They sure as heck look good this round when they have the buy-up triple swing, and that's the firing squad in position as Cuber with a flawless anti-eco.
Just immediately mow them down. They have the weapons, and the fact that it's flawless means that this next round is going to be, hopefully, honestly, it looks really good for Sentinel's Cubert Academy. They have 3 rifles. Don't knock on the dog until you see it fly. And more than that, they even have an outlaw. So if we have some, just nice headshots or even some body shot bandits out here, a pretty solid chance of getting some damage. On the flip side, though, for Maryville, this is I would say, a must-win round. Otherwise, it's double digits for Cubert.
This could be how they close it out, but Maryville, their rifle rounds are just as strong. They're only trailing behind a little bit, but they haven't won in 5 rounds. So Maryville is going to wrap around through the back of B and through Market. Good setup, especially with their smoke behind the A rotations. So Maryville are going to have a free site.
Interesting pathing, but it works, right? And this is also a good plant for Maryville because they can take control of Boba, play off of a lot of that breach utility, and hopefully even deny getting, sardined, canned, whatever you want to call it, trapped in towards the B site.
We got the Terminator, though. We got Redux through main and the Boombot. No battle bot on the other side to have fun with, but Redux is just, his presence alone is going to be good pressure. He's going to be walled off, though, potentially, and then you just have Ange and Giza clear through the front side while the rest of Cuber were trying to pinch with Redux. What a good setup from Maryville to just bunker down and take care of business.
Control of the extremities is probably one of the important things, or at least even like if you are going to be playing on the site like someone like SRG does, is ensuring that when you have the extremity floods, they are essentially really difficult. And that's where the Sentinel comes into the post plant. Considering that they have a softer Sentinel here, it makes sense that they're going for control of Boba, right? Maryville is able to basically just sit back, relax, and chill a bit more. Giza, the utility that Giza provides is really valuable, but it's also really easily broken through, and then Sentinels can flood from that. And while we have a tech pause, I get to be a Yapatron about it a bit more. I will also comment on the fact that because they can activate Renz a bit more and Ange to TP in and take those fights, it's even nicer to see them have unorthodox pathing like through mid. It makes it a little bit, it's something that Cubert, I think, tried to do on their attack side where they went into mid and Maryville kind of caught on to it and they really stopped them. I don't know exactly what round that was, but I remember somewhere in the mid, like 6 through 9 rounds, I believe. But at the end of the day, it works a lot better for Maryville, who seem to have, a bit more utility with Wildfire. And I think it is because of that breach. You have the stun, you have the flashes, and you have Renz to speed into that utility.
Just Wildfire and Clorg have definitely stepped it up. How we took note of just kind of the 0-5 or 0-6 sort of start that they had, just trying to find their footing. And once they got the trap plays going, now that they're playing a lot more cohesively, just more as a team compared to how the series started on Lotus, which we had noted out the gates. Cubert played around their duelists a lot better and traded a lot better. And Maryville were completely caught by the pacing that Cubert wanted to play at with the double, the neon matchup. But Maryville are not sending Renz on this solo go frag everyone adventure. This has been a very good death ball out of Maryville.
Yeah. I had a point, kind of forgot it. That dumpling is just straight staring into my soul. But I think I've remembered the point now that I've gotten that joke out of the way, is the ultimates are starting to build up into it, and specifically for Maryville, that they've picked up round 3. Because Maryville, just generally, their ultimates cost more, especially some of the big ones like Wildfire and Chloric. Even Renz as well, if you want to throw that one in there. They just cost a bit more, right? The benefit of playing Nismo on the Sage is that the resurrection is kind of fast, and you can get it fairly quickly if you just farm some, on the attack side, if you farm orbs, but in general, it defuses, right, if you're playing retake. But on the flip side, Maryville, not only their regular economy, but the ultimate economy is got to start to favor them, especially in 16, 17 and onward. Because looking at the buys that can be potentially bought for Sentinel's Cubit Academy, low shields for Satellite, full buy for Knights and Nismo, it seems at 4K creds, maybe a little bit rough on... they already spent money, so they already have the utility for Sage for Nismo. Just a gun and a shield.
Well, they're going to have so much more time to think about this. As we're going to send you a quick break. We have a mouse issue on one of our players' sides, so check out some content that we have cooked up. We are so back, y'all. The mice have been charged. The dumpling is still dumpling.
Dumpling.
We're still 9-6.
I'm just saying, why is that dumpling mogging me?
Which pixel is mogging you? I'll go deal with it.
We got to throw hands. Now, we're both the good cops now. All jokes aside, though, I mean, like I said it before, it is going to be a buy-up for Sentinels. It's a matter of how are they going to invest into this? Because if they lose this, it's a big round for Maryville. It denies double digits, gets them to 7, gets them closer to a tighter race between these two teams.
All right, Renz has his sneakers on. Never mind. They were untied and he trips up. Knights with an important cutoff and market. And Maryville gonna do the same of wrapping around the backside, but Knights gonna be more aware of it this time, ready for the paranoia. But Angel also has to clear through spawn because that's where the A defenders rotated from last time. So Maryville have now traded spawns.
Yeah, but even more than that, it seems like on the map, if you looked at the pings, they kind of read into it. They knew. And look at where the position is of Nismo and Redux.
Oh, good trade, Redux.
Strike down A.
Needs Nismo to go and finish up the job, but Maryville's surrounded. And now they get to plant.
And they might know, but it doesn't even matter because they collapse upon them through Link. And I'm loving the adaptations in the mid-round for Maryville.
Much needed win there. It's not over yet, though. As Albie Ange sticking an elbow, knowing where this hit's going to be coming from. So Kai's going to recon in, has a shock bolt to clear some corners. Knights is going to be leading that charge, taps the spike, gets attention, trying to see where the spam is coming from and react to appropriately. Gonna be tough. Probably need to use that shock bolt to clear that back box, but Giza is in a good power position. He's converted 3. Satellite focuses on 1 at a time, and he only has 1 left. Doesn't even get the defuse halfway, so he's gonna decide to save the rifle. If he can. Oh, he can.
Sacrifice for Giza to go down, but gets the kill, and there it is, the 7th found for Maryville. And like I said earlier, don't know exactly, I think I said adaptation really fastly, but just the way that they played that round was really solid. Running in through mid, they tried, I think, fighting in towards Boba, realized it'd probably be a bit too much pressure, and we're like, all right, we'll just pivot down into spawn. We know that that's where players were. They had sent a player into there already, and even though it was called by Qbert, it was pinged out on the map, still at the end of the day, Redux and Nismo got pinched, and they fell, and so that's how the round went. That's an eco as well for Qbert, man.
Oh, you got a triple high low, though? Oh my god! And Renz gets killed in mid again! You gotta respect Qbert on that one. That was sick.
I mean, Maryville Thrifty, Qbert's looking like, yeah, we could do some stuff too. We could do some damage. Still, though, Giza's alive, and that's a really big ultimate for information. A-site's also barren, so if they can work their way into it, there's a possibility, more than a possibility, it's a really big reality that plant goes down and the fight starts for the retake, and when you're retaking with lower weapons, it's a little difficult.
The sheriffs are standing and ready in mid for Qbert. Gonna leave the sites mostly open, really depending on this retake, and Nismo bought up a lot of util. Everyone's got a lot of util despite the sheriff buys, so they're gonna wrap around the backside. The trip from Giza will detect. They're looking for a corpse, though, to get a neural depth advantage. It's a beautiful flash, but Giza couldn't get the finish. And now Qbert have a real chance, and to try and pick up some rifles. Showstopper invested. Redux ignores the molly. And now off the recon from Caillou, you were hoping to get more information. The boombot will reveal someone around that back Jenny, and Satellite takes care. So Maryville are left with just Cloric with a rifle, and Qbert this time in a Sheriff Thrifty.
At this point, it's just a matter of finding him, no?
Spam the spike, I guess. Oh, wait, 1 and not the second.
That's it. I mean, honestly, I kind of almost was like, I almost jumped at the bit a little bit because they were trying to fight into mid to get a weapon, recover it, and then we saw Ange get rid of that weapon. But at the end of the day, they didn't even need the weapons. They just entered off of the showstopper, pushed straight into it. And I think that's part of why they were comfortable with the retake, because they're like, all right, we'll trust in Redux, we'll trust in this play. And on the flip side, it almost felt as though Maryville had gotten just a little over aggressive, right? They tried to take that forward fight like they have been doing on previous sites. They've been doing that, I believe, towards B and Boba, a little bit towards A, and it just didn't work. It was read into by Qbert, and they faltered because of it.
This trap play ready to be set up. A lot of aggression pacing up for Maryville. Tried to beat the wall, but the wall's gonna beat them, and it's a Hunter's Fury to pierce through the stage and try to catch these defenders as Redux's Outlaw has something to say about Maryville's push, and it's really toe for toe. Maryville still have an advantage, but at what cost? Knights is gonna pillar up into the site, teleports in, gets a heads up play against Ange, and now unites with Satellite. For Maryville's turn, it's a Rolling Thunder invested, and it's just enough to seal the round for Maryville.
I love the Rolling Thunder popped, immediately swings, and there he is. But at the end of the day, it does go well in Maryville's favor. Other than the fact that they lost that big ultimate and the Hunter's Fury, it was a big ult round for them. They didn't really lose too much other than some of those guns. That could be a huge difference maker, right? Hubert Academy has not only 3 ultimates, but they have a little bit more in terms of, you know, they're on the they're on the defensive side. They could get away with doing a lot more with those ultimates, like Satellite popping that ult towards A with a judge. Worse off weapon, but because you have that ultimate, it really locks down your A positioning. You have to go and fight Viper if you want to go through the A main choke.
Just a lot of mystery for Maryville to overcome. So they'll just ignore going through top mid. They'll have to ignore going through A and just drone up and take this step by step, inch by inch. And Maryville will need to watch their back. And Ange has an important job of anchoring back here along with Wildfire, which I guess you could just kind of rely on the trip to watch the flank. And Maryville gonna activate Renz on the overdrive. Once the spike gets down, Maryville gotta go exploring.
Didn't have a gun, so in this post plant setup, he's kind of looking to find one potentially, but more than that, in this post plant, look at how different it is than before. They're not fighting for the extremities. They're okay with falling back into main, and I guess that's the extremity of choice.
All right, Hunter's Fury to try and dislodge the rats, to flush out Maryville. They got him dancing, but the front line, the bodyguards of Maryville are too strong on this crossfire. Hubert will eventually break through, and Maryville are very split from each other. Ange is good for one, but not the rest, and Hubert will be getting up to 11, one step closer to that finish line.
And I mean, the question is the logic. You had the aftershock, I'm assuming, from Wildfire to play off of in the post plant. You know, you send it out from B main and deny that defuse. But again, right, they had a lot of success with taking control of Boba, with making sure that they have that preemptive strike. And so Hubert is pretty okay with like, okay, well, they gave this space up, let's push into it. And once they take that inch, they have the whole site and more than just a mile. Now Maryville is going to go for a timeout. Makes sense, right? You are literally down. It is 2 rounds away from your loss, and you need to start picking up the steam here fast.
Yeah, this has been Maryville playing a lot more aggressive when they can, but Hubert have put a good stop to that so far, and it's a lot more of a back and forth map compared to how everything went previously. But it's also 2 teams who have not shown their sunset in quite a while. I mean, for Hubert, it was last year when they had 2 different players, T-Dog and Scuba, and then for Maryville, they had Zerona, and that was in the Fun Haver. So, and that was somewhat recently, 2 months ago. So, Maryville in this final timeout, what did they cook up for Hubert to try and get them off their feet?
Well, hopefully something good, considering that Giza has the hero rifle, whereas the rest of the people really don't have much else. Nice 3-pointer, by the way. W obs.
Important hit as Renz played with fire before. Not going to walk into the trap this time from Hubert. Now going to try and explore mid, but now you don't have trips set up for A, so Hubert could take advantage of trapping behind them, but Maryville are not going to waste any time trying to get into B.
And Giza going down in mid is already a thorn in their side for Maryville. It's honestly just like a falter in their plan, because you wanted Giza to get a lot of value with it. Now they're fighting for Boba. They have lackluster weaponry. Let's see how they go.
Triple swing, and it's Ren's leading it. Redux quicker to the trigger, and it's a double kill. Qbert have a chance to get up to match point, series point. And it's not going to be a Maryville Thrifty today. And now you have to depend on being flawless from here on out. And you can't even force any repurchases, which would have been critical considering where Qbert are in their economy. And now they get to keep all their rifles for their potential last round.
Unfortunately, not an aim moment out of Wildfire. And as much as I am a fan of Wildfire, I have to admit that that was just unfortunate in terms of Maryville's plan. They tried to set Giza up for success, maybe go for a nice lurk, but the timing was just rough. And now Qbert managed to take match point, series point, like you pointed out. They have a Sage Res, one off of a rocket for Retakes. They're on the defensive side. They're looking to consistently contest this A main choke. Last time they had a Viper's Pit. Previously, last round, they had a Sage Wall. Now, they're fighting for it. They're fighting for this orb. They want Redux to have this ultimate for a potential retake on the B site.
Yeah, Rens can't hesitate, and Ange will teleport in. Satellite will respect it and play for the 5-man retake. And off the bat, you have Redux with a showstopper. He's going to go out kicking and screaming. Maryville have to hold the door. They'll even extend, go past their own trip, changing the plans and changing the way Qbert approached this. It's a paranoia traded there by the showstopper. Redux flood in, and Qbert flood in through market. As Maryville try to split up, less at the front door to watch. Ren's with 3, looking for the ace. Nismo won't have a chance to res, maybe a second to do so. Redux is back into the fight, and that gives Redux the win, or just Qbert Academy the win through a bloodbath and domination on Lotus, ending here on Sunset.
And I'm not sure exactly for Maryville what the thought process was. I mean, I guess they were fighting for the chokes and making sure, like, hey, you know, if Sentinels is going to retake on us, let's try and have control of each choke point. But for Qbert Academy, the plan was simple. Get Redux activated. Redux has been the star, the player that has made